The immune system's peacekeepers just got a Nobel. Now everyone's asking if they can actually cure disease. Meet the latest Nobel Prize winners, Mary Brunkow, Fred Ramsdell, and Shimon Sakaguchi, the trio who discovered regulatory T cells, or TREGs. These immune cells are like the body's internal diplomats, stopping your immune system from accidentally attacking itself. Decades after their discovery, TREGs are now the focus of more than 200 clinical trials, targeting type 1 diabetes, motor neuron disease, and other autoimmune disorders. The challenge? They're rare and fragile, tough to scale for treatments, but scientists are confident that TREG-based therapies could start hitting clinics within just a few years.
Immune cells known as natural killer cells could be enhanced to destroy the culprits behind autoimmune diseases like lupus and systemic sclerosis. In 2 small clinical trials, researchers successfully genetically engineered NK cells to hunt down rogue cells that produce harmful antibodies against the body's own tissues. Unlike CAR T therapy, which is costly and personalized, NK cells can be taken from donor blood, making this approach potentially faster and more affordable. What if healing meant teaching the body who the real enemy is?
Because the last thing you want in an ER is an overconfident chatbot diagnosing your heart attack. Artificial intelligence might be getting smarter, but in medicine, confidence can kill. Clinician scientist Leo Anthony Selly warns that medical AI needs 2 missing traits: curiosity and humility. Curiosity would let AI question its own answers, like, "Am I sure about this diagnosis?" And humility would make it admit when it's not. Seeley says the goal isn't to replace doctors, but to build systems that amplify human judgment, empathy, and ethics, not bulldoze them. Because the future of medicine shouldn't be about machines pretending to be human, it should be about humans using AI wisely.
Science just gave new eyes to people who'd lost theirs, and it actually works. A breakthrough implant is helping people with age-related macular degeneration, the most common cause of incurable blindness. See again. The tiny device sits under the retina, replacing the light-sensitive cells destroyed by the disease. A special pair of camera glasses captures images and beams them to the implant, which then stimulates surviving retinal neurons to create vision. In trials, patients who were once blind could read letters and even words. The catch? It takes months of training for the brain to adapt, but for many, it's the first glimpse of sight in years.
Turns out, your brain might just need a sprinkle of lithium to roll back the clock, at least if you're a mouse. Scientists have found that topping up the brain's natural lithium levels could protect against and even reverse Alzheimer's disease in mice. They discovered that both human brain tissue and mice with Alzheimer's show a drop in lithium, which is linked to memory loss and those nasty protein buildups, amyloid plaques and tau tangles. The twist: when mice were given lithium orotate, a supplement form of the mineral, their brains bounced back to a younger, healthier state. The plaques and tangles shrank, and their memory actually improved. It's still early days for humans, but for now this is one Alzheimer's breakthrough that has scientists paying very close attention. If only science worked like conspiracy TikTok. One villain, one cure, one video. So US Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. just claimed that an environmental toxin causes autism and researchers are not having it. Why? Because decades of science already tell us autism is way more complicated. Genetics play a massive role, but so do things like parental age, infections during pregnancy, and yes, some environmental factors. But there's no single smoking gun, no magic chemical you can just point at. And that supposed autism epidemic? Mostly it's just better diagnoses, not a sudden explosion of autism traits. As one psychologist put it, there will never be a soundbite answer to what causes autism. Period.
Scientists just sequenced more than 100 individual cells from a 74-year-old man, and what they found is wild. We're all genetic mosaics. Inside one body, different cells had missing chromosome chunks, random edits, deleted DNA, and in several cells, the Y chromosome had simply dipped. This patchwork of cell-to-cell differences, called mosaicism, might be way more common and way more important than we thought. The new catalog of mutations gives researchers a rare, full-body snapshot of how our cells mutate as we age, and could help explain everything from cancer risk to cardiovascular disease. Basically, you're not a single genetic identity. You're a chaotic collage of tiny DNA plots unfolding at the same time. Plot twist, every cell in your body is out here freelancing its own DNA storyline.
Outbreaks don't come out of nowhere, they follow a hidden rhythm. Researchers have cracked part of dengue's deadly timing. After analyzing decades of surveillance data from 14 countries, they discovered clear patterns. In the Americas, major dengue outbreaks often hit 5 months after an El Niño event. On a local scale, outbreaks usually arrive 3 months after peak summer heat and 1 month after peak rainfall. Last year alone, the region saw a record-breaking 13 million cases, making this predictive power vital for saving lives. With climate change altering weather extremes, spotting dengue's early warning signs could mean the difference between containment and catastrophe.
Imagine playing a video game without moving your hands. Thanks to a cutting-edge brain-computer interface from Chinese tech company StairMed, a man with no limbs can now do just that. This tiny, minimally invasive device works with fewer sensors than its American rival, Neuralink, but it's unlocking big possibilities. Backed by national innovation funding, China is accelerating BCI development, restoring hand movement in people with paralysis, and even helping a patient with a brain tumor communicate in Mandarin. The future of neurotechnology is unfolding, and it may be coming from the East.
Imagine quitting meds for good, and your disease just stays gone. Psoriasis isn't just red, itchy patches. It's linked to heart disease, diabetes, arthritis, and mental health struggles. Antibody-based drugs have been life-changing by targeting the inflammation at its core, but doctors always said, once you start, it's for life. Here's the twist. Some patients who stopped treatment never relapsed. Now, major clinical trials are digging into why. One dermatologist admitted he once thought a cure was impossible in his lifetime. Today, he's confident we could see it within the next decade.
Malaria just met its tiniest opponent, and this time, the baby wins. For the first time ever, a malaria treatment made just for infants is hitting shelves in parts of Africa. It's called KoKochem Baby, cherry-flavored, breast milk dissolvable, and specially dosed for newborns. Developed with help from a Swiss non-profit and drug maker Novartis, this life-saving med will be distributed not for profit. It's not just science, it's compassion in action. Every drop could mean a first birthday. This isn't just a new medicine, it's a second chance.
Apparently, your DNA can play favorites and even flip personalities depending on whether it's from mom or dad. Scientists have discovered that the same gene can have completely different effects depending on which parent you inherited it from, and sometimes the effect is opposite. Using a new statistical model, researchers identified at least 30 parent-of-origin effects in 14 genes, all without needing DNA from the parents themselves. 19 of these gene variants had what they call a bipolar effect, meaning they can help or hurt you depending on the source. One jaw-dropper. A certain variant raised type 2 diabetes risk by 14% if it came from your father, but actually lowered the risk by 9% if it came from your mother. So yeah, it's not just what genes you get, it's who you get them from.
Scientists just found an unexpected team-up. mRNA COVID vaccines appear to make a major cancer treatment. Immune checkpoint inhibitors work better. In real patients with deadly cancers, those who got the COVID shot actually lived longer than those who didn't. To figure out why, researchers tested it in mice and discovered the vaccines basically rev up the immune system across the entire body, giving cancer-fighting drugs a powerful boost. It's not a replacement for treatment, but it might be the ultimate assist in the fight against cancer.
Scientists are literally growing egg and sperm cells in labs. The future of fertility just got wild. A new revolution in fertility science is brewing, and it's called in vitro gametogenesis, or EVG. Imagine creating egg and sperm cells entirely in a lab. Researchers say IVG could transform medicine, letting scientists test how drugs affect fertility, study genetic disorders, and even help people with infertility. But we're still about 15 years away from real-world use. The catch? The same tech could also make genetically modified babies possible. That's why experts are calling for strict regulations now before lab-grown gametes go from science fiction to reality.
A major plot twist just hit the brain tech world. Paradromics, a Neuralink rival, has officially scored FDA approval to start a long-term clinical trial of its brain-computer interface. Their device will be implanted in 2 volunteers who lost the ability to speak due to neurological diseases or injuries. And this isn't just about typing with your mind. This is the first clinical trial aiming to restore real-time synthetic speech, basically letting the brain talk directly to a digital voice. The trial's main mission is safety, but if it works, it could radically change communication for people who've been locked out of their own voices. The brain chip race just got very real.
When cloning your champion horse isn't extra enough, scientists just had to hit it with the CRISPR edit. Meet the first CRISPR-edited horses. Clones of a polo champ, but turbocharged with a genetic tweak to the myostatin gene, basically the muscle growth dial. The goal? Faster, stronger, better ponies on the field. Traditionalists are already fuming, with some polo authorities banning gene-edited animals altogether. But outside the sport, CRISPR cattle, sheep, and pigs are sliding into agriculture like it's no big deal. Whether it's the future of performance or a biotech overstep, one thing's clear: the horse game just leveled up. Scientists just built a tiny robot, literally the size of a grain of sand, that can swim through your blood vessels and drop medicine exactly where it's needed. No, this isn't sci-fi. It's a real microrobot made from gelatin beads stuffed with drugs and iron oxide nanoparticles, so doctors can steer it using magnets like a medical RC car. Once it delivers the payload, the robot dissolves harmlessly into the body. Tests in pigs and sheep show it can navigate complex vessels and deliver tiny targeted doses without nuking the rest of your organs with side effects. If this scales to humans, it could mean a future where surgeons guide microscopic drug couriers through your bloodstream like they're playing a biomedical Mario Kart. Congrats, humanity! We officially unlocked nanobot side quests.
ADHD diagnoses are climbing around the world, but not for the conspiracy-level reasons some politicians shout about. Experts say the rise mainly comes from better awareness and finally recognizing symptoms in women and girls, groups who were ignored for decades. But that hasn't stopped claims of an overdiagnosis crisis, especially from the commission led by U.S. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy, Jr. Specialists say the truth is way more complicated. Yes, more people are getting diagnosed, but that's often because they spent years struggling without support. As ADHD clinician and advocate Jeremy Didier puts it, ADHD can be a strength, sure, but only if it's identified, treated, and managed. Without that, it can derail a life. The real crisis isn't overdiagnosis, it's how many people still slip through the cracks. Hot take: calling ADHD a superpower is cute until someone spends 20 years undiagnosed and fighting for their life. Turns out, the real problem isn't the tech, tease trust. Across Africa, scientists are sitting on mountains of health data, but they're not sharing it. And honestly, who can blame them? For decades, biomedical info from the continent has been exploited, misused, and shipped overseas without fair return. Now, African researchers argue the answer isn't just more funding or flashy platforms. It's a social contract. Think of it as a promise. Data sharing done with equity, transparency, and actual benefit for the communities providing that data. Without that trust, the hoarding continues.
GLP-1 drugs like Ozempic have revolutionized obesity treatment, but patients face major hurdles. Many patients experience side effects, high costs, and limited insurance coverage. Often, people stop treatment and the weight begins to return. These drugs are not standalone fixes, rather a stepping stone toward other options. Consider integrating bariatric surgery or less invasive procedures to maintain your weight.
Medication alone isn't the whole solution. For many, it's just the beginning of a long health journey.
This is KoKochem. Subscribe for more science updates. Thank you for watching.
Your gut might be shaping your mind and even your mood. Preliminary research suggests that the gut microbiome could play a major role in mental health, including depression and anxiety. In one striking 2016 experiment, scientists transplanted gut bacteria from people with depression into rodents, and the animals began showing depression-like behaviors. It's not how we used to think about mental illness, says psychiatrist Valerie Taylor, noting the shock of treating depression as something that could be transferred like an infection. Researchers are now probing the gut-brain axis through the immune system, the vagus nerve, and the enteric nervous system to understand how probiotics, diet, or even fecal transplants might transform mental health treatment.
A new AI model by Google DeepMind could help scientists unlock the mysteries of dark DNA, the parts of our genome that don't make proteins but might hold clues to diseases like cancer. The tool, called Alpha Genome, analyzes long DNA sequences and predicts how genes behave or react to mutations. This could change how we understand the hidden layers of our biology.
This is KoKochem. Subscribe for more science updates. Thank you for watching.
Okay, wild science moment incoming. Surgeons have figured out how to literally revive human hearts for transplant even after the person has died, like actual flatline to full pump revival. One method, used for kids, takes the heart out of the body and runs a cycle of oxygen-rich blood through it, like it's on life support 2.0. Meanwhile, the second method is straight-up science fiction. It freeze-preserves adult hearts inside the donor's body until it's go time for transplant. Translation? More lives saved, more hearts beating, and one giant W for medical science. So yeah, doctors just figured out how to bring dead hearts back to life. And nope, this isn't a Marvel movie.
Okay, here's one for the bio textbook of the future. 8 kids are walking around today with DNA from 3 people, and they're perfectly healthy. This isn't sci-fi. It's called mitochondrial donation, and it's meant to stop babies from inheriting super harmful genetic mutations passed down in mitochondria. Scientists take the nucleus from a fertilized egg that has faulty mitochondria and move it into a donor egg that has healthy ones. Boom. One baby with nuclear DNA from their actual parents and mitochondrial DNA from a second woman. It's like a genetic remix that saves lives. So apparently, you can be born with 2 moms and a dad. And science is totally cool with it.
Ebola's deadliest strain is back, and the clock is ticking. The Democratic Republic of the Congo is facing a new Ebola outbreak. 47 confirmed cases and 25 deaths since early September. Scientists say it likely started from an animal spillover, and testing confirms it's the Zaire Ebola virus, the most dangerous strain. The good news? We now have approved vaccines and drugs that can stop it in its tracks, but only if they're deployed fast. Researchers are urging a swift response to keep the virus confined to the 4 remote regions where it's currently contained.
Scientists are calling for an extension of human embryo research from 14 to 28 days, a move they say could unlock new breakthroughs in medicine and early development. But with it comes a strong call for ethical safeguards. Run pilot studies in certified labs. Trigger ethics reviews if anomalies appear. Make all data and decisions public. It's not just about science. It's about trust, transparency, and responsibility. More answers, more accountability. Can we balance both? What if your painkiller could come from plastic? Scientists have engineered E. coli bacteria that can turn PET plastic waste into paracetamol, the same drug in Tylenol. With just 2 added genes in a never-before-seen chemical reaction, the bacteria convert trash into treatment. A future where we clean the planet and make medicine? It's closer than you think.
This is KoKochem. Subscribe for more science updates. Thank you for watching.
A sharp rise in Mpox cases in Sierra Leone is overwhelming the country's health system and raising alarms. Over 3,000 cases were confirmed in just 1 month, but the true number may be at least 4 times higher. Genomic epidemiologist Edith Parker highlights the concern over underreporting of Mpox cases. Experts warn that the recent cut in U.S. foreign aid could make containing the outbreak more difficult. There are fears of spillover effects into neighboring West African countries if the outbreak is not contained.
I'm sure you agree with me on this one. When there's a strain on health systems, and support dries up, viruses always find room to move.
This is KoKochem. Subscribe for more science updates. Thank you for watching.
A game-changing HIV prevention shot has arrived. Lenacapavir, approved by the FDA, needs just 2 injections per year. In a trial involving African women, it offered full protection. At the 2024 AIDS conference, the room erupted in tears and applause. But behind the scenes, the drug nearly didn't make it. Hope, persistence, and science prevailed.
This is KoKochem. Subscribe for more science updates. Thank you for watching.
Scientists have discovered that cancer cells missing their Y chromosome might transmit this loss to nearby immune cells. This phenomenon could weaken the immune response, making the body less effective at fighting cancer. This might explain why Y chromosome deficient cancers tend to be more aggressive in nature. A massive genomic analysis revealed that the extent of Y chromosome loss might predict cancer progression speed. Understanding this process opens new avenues for cancer treatment and prognosis.
The Y chromosome might seem small, but its absence could carry a big consequence for cancer severity and even immune strength.
This is KoKochem. Subscribe for more science updates. Thank you for watching.
Trump said, "Don't take Tylenol," but science is basically saying that's not how evidence works. U.S. President Donald Trump just told Americans to avoid Tylenol, claiming a possible link to autism after the FDA announced a new warning label for the common painkiller. But scientists are calling foul. Clinical experts stress there's no causal evidence connecting acetaminophen to autism or vaccines for that matter. And with few safe alternatives for treating pain and fever during pregnancy, researchers warn that fear-based advice could put pregnant women and their babies at risk. In short, the science says Tylenol is still safe when used as directed.
Congrats, humanity, we're officially testing DLC organs now. In a world first, doctors transplanted a genetically engineered pig lung into a human, and yes, it actually worked, kind of. The recipient was a 39-year-old brain-dead patient, and the lung stayed alive for 9 full days. No immediate rejection, no catastrophic failure, though things got weird. Within 24 hours, the lung started swelling, some tissue suffocated from oxygen loss, and antibodies began attacking it. But by day 9, those attacks had slowed down. The experiment ended there, but the takeaway is clear. We're inching closer to farm-to-human organ replacements. Forget bacon! Pigs might literally be saving lives next.
Science is getting closer to solving the organ shortage, one pig embryo at a time.
A unique 3D printed pen filled with magnetic ink may help detect the tremors associated with Parkinson's disease. As the pen moves across a surface, it generates voltage in a nearby metal coil. producing a current signal. In a small-scale study, scientists used machine learning to analyze signals from people with and without Parkinson's. After training, one model was able to identify those with the disease with about 96% accuracy.
It is amazing how something as simple as writing with a pen could lead to earlier and more accurate diagnosis. If you are interested in biomedical innovation or even AI in healthcare, this is a space to watch. This is KoKochem. Subscribe for more science updates. Thank you for watching.
Imagine a brain cell squad that keeps your pain stuck on replay. Yeah, they just found it. Researchers just discovered a tiny cluster of brain cells that might be behind chronic pain, at least in mice. These neurons live in the parabrachial nucleus, and when the animals felt pain, the cells fired up and stayed on long after the pain should have ended. When scientists blocked those neurons, the mice's lingering pain disappeared, but normal short-term pain signals still worked fine. If humans have a similar setup, this could be a game changer, not numbing pain entirely, but turning off the part that refuses to shut up.
Across Asia, scientists and conservationists study how viruses jump from animals to humans. This research is crucial to prevent future global outbreaks. Much of this work takes place in live animal markets and the supply chains involving hunters and intermediaries, where risks are prevalent. However, the COVID-19 pandemic has set back global prevention efforts, making research even more essential to protect public health. Wild animal trade has moved underground, making it harder to monitor and regulate. Governments and traders have become more secretive about operations. Funding for public health research is shrinking despite the ongoing risks in this multi-billion-dollar industry. This poses a significant threat to global health.
We often hear never again after a pandemic. But are we really prepared? If science can't follow the trail, we might not see the next outbreak coming. This is KoKochem. Subscribe for more science updates. Thank you for watching.
Imagine a cancer so greedy, the best move is to take away its snacks. Glioblastoma, one of the deadliest brain tumors out there, grows fast because it hijacks nutrients from the body like a thief at an all-you-can-eat buffet. But scientists just found its weak spot: food deprivation. In mouse experiments, when researchers cut out serine, a key amino acid the tumor depends on, the cancer slowed down, and the animals actually lived longer. It's not a cure, but it's proof that even the most ruthless cancers have an Achilles heel, and sometimes it's just dinner.
Scientists just reinvented the humble surgical stitch by adding programmable slip knots. Yes, actual smart knots that tighten only to the Goldilocks level. Not too loose, not too tight, just right. These knots are engineered to unfurl when they hit the perfect tension, giving surgeons or surgical robots a built-in indicator for ideal wound closure. No guesswork, no overcranking. Tested in rats, these smart sutures restored blood flow faster, caused fewer leaks, and even reduced scar tissue compared with old-school stitches. Basically, it's the biggest glow-up for thread since humans figured out how to sew. Imagine tying a knot so perfect it literally knows when to stop tightening. Surgeons said, "Work smarter, not harder."
Remember baby KJ Muldoon? Doctors literally reprogrammed his DNA to save his life. And now, that miracle is turning into a clinical trial. The same team behind KJ's treatment is gearing up to try it on 5 more patients. It's powered by something called base editing, an offshoot of CRISPR that lets scientists change a single DNA letter, like fixing one typo in the code of life. The crazy part? They built KJ's treatment in just 6 months, and his doctor, Kiran Musunuru, says they can do it even faster next time. Personalized medicine just went full sci-fi. Science just saved a baby's life with custom DNA surgery, faster than Amazon Prime delivery.
Lose an arm. But your brain still thinks it's there. A new brain imaging study reveals something wild. Even after someone loses an arm, the brain's internal body map doesn't just vanish. Scientists expected neurons in the primary somatosensory cortex, the brain's touch map, to reorganize and take over the lost territory. But instead, the map stayed stubbornly intact. Cognitive neuroscientist Tamar Macon put it bluntly. Pretty much every neuroscientist has learned through their textbook that the brain has the capacity for reorganization. Textbooks can be wrong. In short, the brain holds on to the memory of the missing limb long after it's gone. Sleep isn't just off and on. Your brain's literally vibing through dream dimensions first. You think sleep just happens when you close your eyes? Nope. Your brain basically throws a biochemical rave every night. Sleep researcher Laura Lewis says drifting off isn't a simple flip of a switch. It's a spectrum. Between awake and asleep lies a strange twilight zone called hypnagogia, where your brain half dreams and half hallucinates. It's also when your creativity goes wild. Think of it as the brain's sandbox before deep sleep hits. Studying how this transition works could explain weird stuff like sleep paralysis, or even why some people wake up with million-dollar ideas. Scientists are pulling off something once thought impossible. Using CAR T cells, the same engineered immune cells that revolutionized cancer treatment, to shut down brutal autoimmune diseases like lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, and ulcerative colitis. The process sounds sci-fi. Doctors harvest your T cells, reprogram them with chimeric antigen receptors, and send them back in like elite commandos to wipe out the rogue B cells, causing your immune system to attack its own body. And the early results? Stunning. Some lupus patients are seeing long-lasting remission that looks a whole lot like an actual cure. If this holds up, CAR T could become the blueprint for treating autoimmune disorders at the source, not just managing symptoms. Imagine your immune system being so chaotic it attacks you, and science responds by sending in T cells with literal cheat codes.
For the first time ever, researchers have mapped out how the human brain takes shape, from stem cells to neurons, like a time-lapse of consciousness being built. In a landmark collection of 5 studies, scientists tracked hundreds of thousands of early brain cells in humans and mice to see how they form neurons, support cells, and everything in between. Co-author Hongqi Zheng calls it the first draft of a full brain development atlas. And now, researchers can mine it to explore disorders like autism and schizophrenia. Think of it as the baby book for your brain, complete with all the messy early chapters of what makes us human. Scientists basically just made Google Maps, but for your developing brain.
Imagine digging through Arctic ice, not for mammoths, but for 100-year-old virus RNA. Most ancient DNA we've studied comes from frozen bones or teeth. But what about RNA, the molecule behind viruses like influenza? That's the next big target for evolutionary biologist Sebastian Calvignac-Spencer, who's leading a wild scientific treasure hunt in the Arctic. His team is exploring the icy permafrost of Svalbard, Norway, hoping the cold, dry conditions preserved ancient viral RNA that could rewrite our understanding of pandemics and viral evolution. RNA usually breaks down fast, but if any survived, it's up there, locked in the ice, holding the molecular history of disease itself.
Imagine studying one antibiotic for decades and missing the real superhero sitting right next to it. So, scientists were studying how a soil bacterium makes a known antibiotic called methyllinomycin A, right? Nothing groundbreaking until they stumbled on something hiding in plain sight. A compound called pre-methylinomycin C-lactone, 100 times more powerful than the original drug. Yeah, they found a bacterial Easter egg that kills stubborn infections with microscopic doses. The twist? The original discovery dates back to 1965, meaning this super antibiotic has been chilling in the shadows for nearly 60 years. Moral of the story? Sometimes science's biggest breakthroughs are just hiding behind a lab bench. What really happens when you get a eureka moment? Scientists are mapping brain regions that spark during sudden insights. By tweaking puzzles and tracking brain activity, they're turning aha into hard data. This research may explain why some people are more insightful, and how insight can even boost memory.
This is KoKochem. Subscribe for more science updates. Thank you for watching.
cancer cells with a shocking trick. Scientists just found they steal energy from nerve cells, literally sucking out their mitochondria through tiny tubes. Why? To boost their strength when they spread through the bloodstream. This discovery gives us a brand new target to stop cancer from spreading. The fight against cancer just got a new clue.
This is KoKochem. Subscribe for more science updates. Thank you for watching.
Scientists have created mice with small amounts of human cells in their liver, intestines, and brain by injecting human cells into the amniotic fluid of pregnant mice. Biomedical engineer Zhiling Shen called it a crazy experiment, noting that the injection didn't even pierce the embryonic wall. Stem cell biologist Hideki Masaki says the technique could be game-changing, but researchers still need to boost the number of human cells for it to be truly useful.
This is KoKochem. Subscribe for more science updates. Thank you for watching.
Zuri peeks into a lab and sees a tiny beating heart in a dish with tiny red lines pulsing inside it. Wait, that heart's got veins. Dr. Tyani explains, we didn't add the veins later. We taught the cells to grow them from the start. These mini organs aren't just models. They breathe, live, and grow. The future of medicine is here.
Scientists just made organs even better by giving them real blood vessels. These little hearts, lungs, and livers can now grow their own veins. Before, scientists tried to add blood vessels later, but now they taught the cells to make them from the beginning. So now, these tiny lab organs can grow bigger, live longer, and work more like real ones. It's the closest we've come to making real organs in the lab with blood flowing inside. Hey, Charlie, science anymore. Science anymore. This is good. We know a back no. Both a bit my build full grown organs. I bit me at their bonipa. So this is good news.
Malaria parasites really said, "New phone, who dis?" Until this drug showed up. A brand new malaria drug just did something wild. It cured more than 97% of people in a clinical trial, and it outperformed the treatments we've been using for decades. The drug, called ganaplacide lumefantrine, or GANLUM, attacks malaria parasites in a totally different way than artemisinin, the plant-based compound behind most current therapies. That's huge, because parasites in Southeast Asia and parts of Africa are already developing resistance to artemisinin, threatening to roll back years of progress. GANLUM basically says, nice try to that resistance by targeting the parasite through a new biochemical route. If regulators approve it, this would be the first new class of malaria drug in 25 years, and it could arrive in the next 12 to 18 months, potentially saving millions of lives in regions hit hardest by the disease.